Welcome to Grow with Amanda. Nope, I got some on my head. Hold up. Hi, welcome to Grow with Amanda. Let's talk about resources. There are countless different resources out there that you can access. It's all a matter of how much do you want these resources? How far are you willing to go to get these resources? I want to tell you what resources there are out there and what each one is for. So let's start off with your family doctor. So how can your family doctor help you with your mental health? Well, they can diagnose you. They can prescribe medications to you. They can also refer you to a specialist if they don't feel like they're qualified enough to diagnose you or to prescribe medications. Now there's also a psychiatrist. So psychiatrists specialize in diagnosing and treating mental health disorders. They can do that through medication and also through referring you to different types of therapies. Now, a lot of people do get these two mixed up just because psychologists and psychiatrists are kind of pretty similar, except for the fact that a psychologist, they do a comprehensive psychological assessment and provide evidence-based psychotherapies, which might include something along the lines of CBT or DBT. And they do that in order to help you face your fears, deal with your anxiety and your panic, and to add structure to your daily life. They typically don't prescribe medication. They can help you come off of your medication. My psychologist personally has helped me get off of the majority of my medications because we've substituted a chemical for a actual therapy, an in-person therapy. Now there's also a therapist or a psychotherapist, and basically what their role for you would be, they're going to offer you support, they're going to give you some positive regard, they're going to show you some compassion, maybe give you some guidance. They're also going to have a level of accountability with you. They're going to advocate for you, they're going to listen to you, and they're also going to give you some pretty sound clinical advice. There's also peer support workers, and this is what I want to do as a living, and it's basically provide emotional and social support to those who have gone through similar experiences that I've gone through. So this might be a perfect resource to use if you want somebody to actually truly understand what you're going through. Don't get me wrong, my therapist or my psychotherapist is phenomenal. I love her. She has helped me with so much. But it's a different experience to be able to talk to somebody who's actually gone through what you're going through, because they have more of this empathetic feeling that they can give you because, like I said, they have gone through it. There's also a behavior analyst, and basically their job is to help identify and replace negative and destructive behaviors with more positive and socially acceptable behaviors. They also help with your ability to interact with others. They are behavior analysis, so anything to do with your behavior, if you want to change it, I would highly suggest going to see them, whether it's for an addiction, whether it's for maybe a borderline personality disorder, or anything along the lines of your behavior that you want to fix. Give them a call. Perfect resource to access. Now this is a resource that I have recently started accessing. Holistic healing. It treats the whole person and not just the diagnosis or the problem. It treats absolutely every part of you. Physical, emotional, environmental, and spiritual side. Now this is used in collaboration with the other forms of treatment, not strictly on its own. It can be strictly used on its own, but you're going to get the best results if you combine it with the other type of therapies that are out there. So how do I typically go about looking for my resources? It's kind of simple. I start off with whatever professional I'm working with at that moment. So it started off with my family doctor. Then when I started working with my psychiatrist, I started asking my psychiatrist. Once I started working with my psychologist, I started asking my psychologist. So basically whatever professional you're working with right now, I guarantee you they are a great place to start in order to find the proper resources for you. You can ask them what might be better suited for you. Perhaps what they're offering isn't exactly what you thought it would be, and you might want to switch it up and go and try a different type of therapy or ask for a different professional in order to get the results that you're looking for. So not only reaching out to your professional that's in your life currently, you can also reach out to family and friends. We need to talk about mental health more, and I think that starts with talking about resources and finding out who's accessing what resources and for why. Someone might be accessing a psychotherapist when really they could be accessing a psychologist and it would be a better fit for them. But how are we supposed to know this if we're not talking with each other and communicating? Another great way is obviously doing your research online. So a friend, a family member, or even the professional you're currently working with might suggest for you to go see a different type of professional or a specific professional. But the thing is, you might be referred to, hypothetically, let's say a behavior analysis, but there are so many behavior analyses out there that it's going to be a little bit tricky to try to find the right one for you. And this is where doing your own research online comes in. I would highly recommend you look at reviews of the psychologist, psychiatrist, behavior analysis, peer support worker, anybody who you're planning to go to for help. I would definitely look them up online and look at their reviews. So when you do your research online, there's a couple things I want you to include in. No matter what you are looking up, one, you're going to want to include the location that you are at or that you are willing to go to. What I want you to do is, so make sure your research online is using keywords like topics you are looking for. So hypothetically, let's use a treatment center for addiction as an example. You would type in treatment center for addiction. You can even be more specific if you want and say treatment center for marijuana addiction, treatment center for alcohol addiction. But you could even Google treatment center for concurrent disorders, which is a mental health diagnosis and an addiction diagnosis. I know finding resources can kind of seem very overwhelming, especially if you're not in the most stable spot mentally, because it's very draining to have to put yourself out there to go and find help when you feel like it should just be at your front door. The most important thing to remember is you're not going to get the proper help and the proper treatment unless you're putting in the work. Finding resources is the first step in order to get help, and finding the proper resources. So I'm hoping my descriptions kind of gave you guys a little bit more information as to what each professional provides for you. Also, the resources that I just listed out to you guys, there are so many more resources out there for you, and I would highly recommend going and taking a look for yourself. I'm going to send you guys over to my laptop to see what an essential resource list looks like and where you might be able to access it. First thing that I'd probably type in is resource contact list for mental health, and then put the location you're in. So obviously I'm in Sudbury, Ontario, so that's what I would put in. And you might have to do a little bit of scrolling, but a good one is the CMHA. They'll automatically have a list. And this is the resource list that I was mentioning. There's everything from resources for addiction, for children, parents, families, brain injuries or tumors, emergency numbers, employment, financial aid, education, disabilities. They have things to help you with food, clothing, and medical aid. And all of this is surrounding mental health, because if you're struggling with your mental health, you could be struggling to put food on the table or to have proper clothing for the season. You might even struggle with finding a proper place to live, like shelters or an actual apartment. Community resources for mental health in Barrie, Ontario. Here we go. Now this one gives you the services, which is phenomenal. It's not as detailed as the one in Sudbury, but there's still a possibility that they have another sheet. So this is where I would suggest to continue looking. Here we go. All mental health resources, Simcoe County. So theirs isn't like a sheet. It seems to be more of a website. So every town might have their own way of presenting all this information, but I promise you that if you search up exactly what I did, but with your town or city that you are in, so substitute Barrie or Sudbury for wherever you are located, I promise you that you will find a resource list. It might not be like this one here. It might be like the one that I just found in Barrie. Like this one. If you guys have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm more than happy to answer any questions you guys have. If you learned anything or enjoyed your time with me at all during this episode, hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications, and get ready to grow with Amanda. So the psychologist has a comprehensive psychological, can you not say that word, Amanda? Psychological. Okay, psychological. You said it enough times, I should be able to say it now. I just want a cool entrance. Because, let's face it, people don't really lie online. That's a lie. People lie online all the time. I probably shouldn't say that. TJ, I'm videotaping! Stop banging on your desk! Jeez, does that kid need some resources for his anger management? I just want a cool entrance. Is that so hard to ask? Creativity, come on. Come on, creativity! Yeah, I need some assistance. I need a lot of assistance. Yeah, I like that. That was really good, Amanda. That was really good. Well, if my video's over, I guess it's time to blow it out. Good night, everybody.